Iconic Scarface Quotes, Part 2. Scarface, 1983. Directed by Brian DePalma. Written by Oliver Stone. And starring Al Pacino, Stephen Bauer, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Provided us with numerous iconic quotes that many of us love to watch over and over. So much so that we had to make a part 2 to this video. For anybody that hasn't watched part 1, make sure to do so, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. But without further ado, let's get started. Quote number 1. Tony to immigration officer. "You a communist? Huh? How'd you like it, man? They tell you all the time what to do, what to think, what to feel. Do you want to be a sheep, like all those other people? Bah, bah." I love this quote, and the overall opening scene of the movie. It quickly shapes the narrative and upbringing of Tony Montana being a political prisoner from Cuba. And overall, it was a great introduction to the character we all know and love as Scarface. Tony's personality was very wild, like a renegade, and he could never conform to any sort of rules placed on him, so you can only imagine what it must have felt like for him living in a communist society and having to rely on the government for his basic living needs. Tony truly craved being a part of the United States capitalist society, and overall paints an American dream theme to this film of a Cuban immigrant coming from nothing and coming to the land of opportunity, where he can be and do whatever he desires, experiencing certain freedoms not available to him in Cuba. As Tony says, "I always knew one day I'm coming here, United States." Quote number 2. Tony's mom. "You think you can come back into my house with your hotshot clothes and your jail manners and make fun of us? No, that is not the way I raised Gina to be." This is one of the most underrated parts of the film. We can see Tony has gone back to visit his mother and little sister Gina after what appears to have been 5 years since Tony had last communicated with his family. You definitely get the sense that Tony has a true love for his mother and sister and wants to make things right again. Tony feels empowered now that he has finally attained enough power and wealth to provide for his family, and he offers to provide financially for Gina and his mother. But his mother can see right through Tony, and she knows that Tony still has not changed from his old ways. She knows all that money he's flashing around is blood money, and it goes against everything she stands for, and the morals she tried to impart to her children. This scene shows some superb acting from Myriam Colon, playing Tony's mom. And she goes off on Tony, letting him know that he's not welcome in her home. You can see she leaves Tony speechless and calls him a bum. But Tony has so much respect for his mother that he knows better than to argue and simply accepts the fact that she will never accept him due to the decisions he's made in his life. This scene gives us a certain sympathy for Tony, knowing that even his own mother has disowned him. But at the same time, it shows us that Tony grew up under the influence of a hard-working, honest woman. But despite that, Tony still chooses the gangster lifestyle. Quote number 3. Frank Lopez. "Hey Tony, remember when I told you when you started? The guys who last in this business are the guys who fly straight. Low-key, quiet. But the guys who want it all, chicas, champagne, flash, they don't last." This quote and the reaction that Tony gives afterward completely show you the mindset and approach that Frank and Tony take in their business dealings. Frank Lopez believes in an easygoing, more conservative approach to his business. Frank is more concentrated on small, consistent, and long-term success, and is not willing to take big risks, as we saw him completely panic when Tony lets him know he struck a deal with the dangerous Alejandro Sosa. Tony's reaction to the advice Frank gives him shows that he is the complete opposite of Frank. Tony is a guy who came from nothing and is eager to get a taste of what it feels like to be on top. He could frankly care less about the long game and waiting methodically to achieve success. Tony wants to expand as soon as possible and is willing to take big risks in order to achieve his goal. Although this was very logical advice from Frank, it was just something Tony could never comprehend because it's not in his personality. He was someone who wanted what he felt like he deserved, and that was the world. Quote number 4. Tony to Manny. "We're getting sloppy, our thinking, our fucking attitude. We're not fucking hungry anymore. Tony Montana finally gets to experience what it's like being a top kingpin, as he had just killed Frank Lopez, had a sweet cocaine connection with Sosa, got the girl of his dreams. Everything should be fine, right? Well, not quite. As the saying goes, with more money comes more problems. As Tony is having issues laundering his money due to Jerry the banker increasing the rates on Tony. You can see Tony's crew doesn't quite have the infrastructure to handle so much volume of business, and it seems like his crew, including Tony himself, has lost a bit of their edge compared to when they had to grind their way to the top. This is to be expected, because one of the most challenging things in life is the ability to maintain success. It's not as easy to have the same grind and hunger when you've been sleeping in silk pajamas, as the saying goes. Tony understands this and complains to Manny about it, but ironically, in the next scene, we see Tony in his luxurious bathtub, like royalty, watching television. Quote number 5, Elvira to Tony. Nothing exceeds like excess. You should know that, Tony. What I find most interesting about this quote is it's quite telling of Tony's personality and mindset, which Tony didn't quite catch when Elvira says this to him. Tony, from day one, was always someone who wanted more. When he landed a dishwasher job in Miami, he wanted a job of more status and money. When he finally got accepted into Frank's crew, he wanted the boss's wife. Basically, Tony wanted the world. And it got to a point where Tony had acquired so much that he still wasn't satisfied. Overall, Tony's mindset was nothing exceeds like excess. And ironically, so was Elvira's when it came to her drug use. Not only is this the mindset of Tony, but it also could be argued it's the principle and goal of most businessmen in the capitalistic economy of the United States, where a person's earnings are uncapped. Overall, this was a catchy phrase from Elvira, and one that can resonate with many people in modern society. Quote number 6, Tony to Manny. Is this it? Is this what it's all about, Manny? Eating, drinking, fucking, sucking, snorting? Then what? This is one of the most significant scenes in the whole movie, because here is where we can see Tony's life has hit rock bottom. Tony has the world he always desired and risked his life for, but he's still unhappy. Why is this? As you can see, Tony is visibly drunk, and you can see his life really has no significant meaning to it. His wife is dependent on drugs. As Tony describes, I got a junkie for a wife. Not only is she a drug addict, but she's incapable of having children, which is something that Tony truly desired, if we recall when he proposed to her saying, I want you to be the mother of my children. This portion just reveals how hollow and superficial their marriage was. There was never any real love behind their relationship. Tony married Elvira solely due to her beauty and his ability to have her under his arm to show off, his trophy wife, while Elvira married Tony because he enabled her to continue her empty lifestyle. Overall, their marriage was never pure, and they married each other for all the wrong reasons. And I think her inability to have children was a sign from the universe, confirming this. But Elvira is not the only one dependent on drugs. Tony himself is also addicted to cocaine. And despite having all the materialistic things in the world, he's still unhappy because money cannot buy Tony true happiness or true fulfillment in his life. Overall, this scene was perfectly executed, and Al Pacino and Michelle Pfeiffer both did a fantastic job playing their roles in this scene. Quote number 7, Tony to Alberto. You think I killed 2 kids and a woman? Fuck that. I don't need that shit in my life. You die, motherfucker. Possibly no other phrase better describes the moral philosophy and code Tony Montana possesses when it comes to his line of business. Throughout his life, he's killed countless men, but Tony simply draws the line when it comes to innocent children and a mother. This is something that really shows us a small glimpse of Tony's good side. And at the end of the day, you can respect his actions, because even though he's crossed the line between good and evil a long time ago, there are still certain lines Tony would never cross. Unfortunately for Tony, though, the one time he chooses the moral high ground, it's in a scenario that costs him his life. Tony was doing business with one of the most vicious, cutthroat mobsters in Alejandro Sosa. And since Tony didn't allow Alberto to detonate the bomb, it meant Tony would have to pay with his life. Quote number 8. Tony to himself. Fuck, Manny. How the fuck I do that? How the fuck I do that, Manny? This scene is very telling of how Tony felt about killing his best friend, Manny Rivera. Tony has officially hit rock bottom. He's out of control with his drug use. His desk is filled with massive piles of cocaine. It almost feels like Tony is unaware of what had just happened, and he says to himself, "We gotta get organized here." Almost as if, for a split second, he thought he was talking to Manny about how to strategize what their next move would be, until it hits Tony like a gunshot, and he realizes that he had murdered Manny, his right-hand man. We can see that Tony ultimately regrets killing Manny, and he can't comprehend how he was able to commit such an act. Overall, it was devastating for us to see Tony do what he did, and it just piles on to Tony's tragic ending, where he loses everyone he once cared for, and arguably, all due to Tony's own actions, giving light to what his mother told him earlier in the film. Why do you have to destroy everything that comes your way? Quote number 9. Tony to Gina. I love Manny, you know, and I love you too. This is one of the few scenes where we can see raw emotions from Tony Montana. He's talking to his sister Gina, who was just viciously murdered, and lets her know that he loved her, and he always loved Manny. It's very unfortunate that Tony was not able to tell Gina or Manny that he loved both of them until it was too late. This scene shows that although Tony was a very troubled character and wasn't perfect, he always valued and cared deeply about family. I think we can confirm this idea, but how much Tony wanted to have kids with Elvira, and how he was unable to kill an innocent family even if it meant risking his own life. Scenes and phrases like these show us the deeper side of Tony, and show us that he was not purely evil, that he had a deep care and affinity for the people in his life. But unfortunately, his drug use and impulsive personality jeopardized their lives and left Tony spiritually dead at the end, where all he had left in his life was the cocaine he was addicted to. Quote number 10. Who do you think you fucking with, man? I'm Tony Montana. You fuck with me, you fucking with the best. Arguably one of the best parts of the film. It shows how Tony, no matter what, always carries himself the same way. Tony, in his mindset, in his mannerisms, and his everyday approach, walks like he's the best, and is one of the main factors to why Tony was so respected and became a millionaire. Overall, I believe this quote and this part of the movie embodies the Tony Montana we all love, a man who fears nobody and will never back down from a fight. Even though Tony is completely outmatched, he virtually goes toe-to-toe against an army of hitmen and lets them know it's not going to be an easy task taking him down. They're going to have to work for it. Like Tony says, you think you can take me? You need a fucking army, you're going to take me. What was your favorite quote? Comment down below. Also, anybody who's new, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification to never miss a future video like this. Also, if you haven't watched part 1 of the iconic quotes explained, don't forget to give that a watch as well. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you in the next one.